Hey guys, how's it going? We are going to start off Season 6's content with a couple tier lists, one for King of the Hill and one for PVE. I think it's better to separate the two because not everything that works good in PVE translates well to the PvP experience. So I think this is the best way to go about it. And let's jump into it. This is going to be our PVE tier list. And I remember, this is just my opinion, and this is just for Season 6. We're wiping the slate clean. Forget about the last 5 seasons. A lot has changed, so we're going to just jump into it. And this is my opinion on what works the best, the most efficient way to start your runs and get through. Efficiency is going to probably be the #1 factor here. You don't want to be losing a lot of troops. You can mix and match here a bit with different classes, but let's jump into it. We're going to start with Fencers. Fencers are actually surprisingly strong still in PvE. Now, they have been strong in the past. It was very particular about how you could run it. Now you can get away with it a lot easier in the current setup of the mutations, not having to worry about that last mutation altar, for example. I think you can get through most of the PvE experience with just a few high-level fencers. You don't want level 1, 2, or even 3 necessarily. Tier 4, tier 5, maybe 3 or 4 of those, you can get probably all the way, I would guess, probably level 9. I haven't tested all these, but I'm pretty confident in that because they have vampirism. So, and that's physical fencers. I'm talking physical fencers. I think I underestimated that. So physical fencers are probably the stronger version actually right now of fencers. So I put them in the A tier. I think they're really good. Yeah, I think they're really good. You can make an argument for S tier, but I think we're gonna go with that. Throwers are tricky in PvE. And I don't necessarily recommend it. I mean, I love throwers and they can dish out the punishment, but I think you need to buy more. And to really get the benefit of them, you have to have all of them, right? You have to to really maximize the potential. A lot of builds you would load up on throwers and just keep them to the side and not really put them out until the later stages of the PvE, just to get the levels up before you run into the PvP. So for that reason, I think I would put them probably in the C tier for PvE. Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable there with them in C tier. They're not garbage. You can make it work. You just need more of them, and you probably will lose some troops along the way. Fighters, unfortunately, fighters are still weak. A long time ago, they were. I mean, I talk like this game's been out forever, but back in Season 1, Season 2, fighters were probably the meta for PvE. You could do a lot with just 1, 2, 2. Now you can still do it, but I just don't think that they're strong enough. It's really, really hard to make them work. And for that reason, especially now they don't have Vamp. They have Bite once you get to floor 9 or 10. But unfortunately, fighters are they're down here in the trash tier. Right? I mean, let's can I rename this trash tier? Trash. And that's my favorite. Oh. That's my favorite class right there. Trash. Right? We've got our trash tier. Trash. Fighters. Unfortunately, my favorite class is in the trash tier. Healers. Healers are... They're healers. They're I don't know what else to say. They're not great. I mean, they are they're a supplement, right? They're still that. You can't. I mean, they're not supposed to be something that you're gonna main or just build your whole build around, but they still suck. Their AI still gets them killed constantly, and they're just underwhelming, even for other than buying just a healer to just keep your main troops alive, maybe. So I'm gonna put them down in trash too, behind fighters. I think they're just actually, you know what, they're probably more useful than fighters. Forget that. They're probably more useful than fighters. I'm just being a fighter fanboy here. Now we move on to cultists, and they have been, and I think probably they would have been even in season 1, season 2, but people maybe just hadn't figured out how to properly use them and really make it work for you. 6 cultists, if you go all the way up to tier 5, can carry you through the entire PVE experience if you get good RNG. 9 cultists, even if they're only tier 1, 2, and 3, can carry you all the way through the whole PVE experience. That is crazy. And that's with like out upgrading anything, right? You don't even need to, that's like very minimal upgrades. Like maybe some in health. You don't have to do much. And I think most people that pick up the game would find that out pretty quick. The cultists are incredibly strong, and for that reason they are in our S tier. They almost should have a tier all to themselves, and maybe they should, but we're gonna put them at the top here. There's not enough classes to have that many tiers. Tanks in PvE, I think they're in a better place now than maybe they were in the past. I haven't done a run myself, a whole run just trying to make tanks be my focus in PvE. I would say they aren't, I'm gonna say they're not trash, right? I would say that you can probably get away with it a little bit better than this, but I would say low C tier, right? Like probably low C tier, maybe just yeah, I would say they've got a better chance, and they're more useful, right? I think. Yeah, we're gonna put them there. You could make an argument for trash still, but I think they're good here. Now we're gonna do Mega Newbie. Mega Newbie is consistently a strong build. If you're struggling to beat the game, you can get your Mega Newbie on floor 2 and cruise through the PvE experience. Like literally just cruise, because it's a long play, right? Similar to the cultists, it's a long run. It's way longer than some of these other classes, like your fencers. You can beat the PvE probably, I would say probably 10 minutes faster, maybe even more, just because of the sheer damage output and the amount of troops you're hitting. There's no splash damage with this guy, but this is the PvE, and it is strong. I mean, once you get a Mega Newbie going, I've never lost a PvE run when I had a Mega Newbie. So they're gonna go A tier, not above fencers, because you have to invest a lot of tokens to really, like, you're gonna buy a bunch of troops, right? So, but once you're invested in the Mega Newbie, you're good to go. Now we're gonna go on to Tricksters, and I think Tricksters are they're probably the reason why I decided to do this with the 2 different tier lists finally, because Tricksters are, in my opinion, I know that cultists are probably the well, maybe not even, I don't know, it's debatable because I've had a ton of luck with this. Tricksters are so strong in PvE. If you rush, especially in this season, I think if you rush to getting all 5 Tricksters in your build, even 4, right, if you skip the Lancer, but there's the one starting class, I can't remember if it's medieval, it might be, where you start with a Lancer. If you rush to getting all of those by like floor, I think you can have them all by the end of floor 2 if you really wanted to, like tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're dodging. The floor 4 boss is completely irrelevant. They have the self heal, so what you can do is you can just put you can buy a healer and put them behind your 5 Tricksters, and they can carry you through almost the entire PvE experience. Just that handful of Tricksters. So for that reason, they're going up here in S tier for PvE. And you could make an argument that they're actually better in PvE than Cultists. I just think that Cultists are probably stronger overall. I think it's probably safer. I can't confirm that though. That's just my gut feeling that Cultists are safer. But I definitely, if you haven't tried Tricksters in PvE, try them because they're incredibly strong. Eggheads. I think Eggheads aren't the strongest. They're completely reliant on a set of mutations to make them good in PvE, right? So they're not awful, but I think they're better than what maybe I've said in the past. But I still think that so you need to get on floor 2, you would want to get you don't need it, but you would want to get your tower buff where you get 500% tower speed built, and then you would also want to have your attack tower mutation, and you don't know when that's going to come up for you, right? In this current season, it should be easier. So I think, and like, I just don't like their attack speed in general. I feel like it's really slow. I think I'd put them probably in here. Maybe even here. Maybe in B tier. No, I'm gonna put them at the top of C tier. Yeah, top of C tier, I think that's where I would put them. You could make an argument for B, I think. And maybe throwers even could move up. It's preference, right? These are all classes that I wouldn't pick them to run. I would load up on these on the sidebar and put them in at the end, right? They're not classes that I would normally try and run through PvE with. Mages are still strong, right? Not much has changed with them. They're the only class with res. Magic damage is still king in this game, right? It's still so strong. But you do need, and here's where the kicker is, I think. You do need to invest in them, and you probably will lose some mages. They're squishy, right? Other than the shaman. But the shaman walks to their death a lot. And I think because of that, right? You have to get energy vamp. You have to really worry about the flag enemies and your balance of health versus damage output. And usually about 9 mages is what you're gonna need, or more. I've had mixed luck with mages. If you're okay with losing troops here and there, as long as they're cheap ones, they're fine. But I'm trying to base this off of not losing troops really at all, and I've had luck not losing any troops at all with these guys. So E tier is where these guys are going to fall. They're good, but I think that if you try these guys out better, you'll end up with better economy in the end, I think. Now, for shooters probably in the latest season took the biggest nerf of any class, I think. They don't have any self-heal. I just don't think that I think they just lost a lot of their power. They become more of an addition class than a main class. And they've fallen a lot. Now, they've never been strong PvE. I'll be honest about that. They've never been a strong PvE class, because they're pretty squishy too, and it takes a little bit to get them going. And you probably got to get, you want to get certain mutations, and you want to get all the classes. I'm gonna sandwich them somewhere in here. Probably, actually, I don't know. Maybe not even. You could make arguments about all of this in here. I think the placements of these. Realistically, actually, I'd probably do that. This is probably more in line with what I think. Shooters have fallen pretty far, right? Like, they've fallen off. So that is my PvE tier list. We've got cultists and tricksters at the tippity top. I think that is pretty accurate for me anyway. Physical fencers more than spending fencers personally. I think physical fencers are great this season, especially in the PVE part. And mega newbie, super strong. Mages are kind of in the middle. You can make them work, but you're taking some risks. And then you have the classes that I think are more supplemental. You're not gonna, or you would set to the sidebar, right? You can main them. You can main your throwers. You can main your eggheads, but you aren't gonna have easy times running them from beginning to end every run. Tanks, shooters, I don't think that you're gonna have much luck running them in PvE from the beginning. And healers and fighters are just trash, right? You can't. You can make maybe fighters work if you want to invest a bunch and struggle through it. Maybe Hunger Games might work. I don't know, but to make something work versus these things, right? The argument would be how hard do I have to work to make these guys actually functional versus this? I don't have to even think about this stuff. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the support from the Despots game community. And if you want to, you can check out the PvP tier list right here. And I will catch you on the next one, guys.